Here's the thing. A lot of the migrants are, in fact, being extremely honest with their intentions. But it seems like the asylum officials really don't care about that. They say, listen, all you have to do is say you're here for asylum and we'll just let you in, right? Disregarding the fact that a couple of moments ago, they most likely said, yeah, we're coming here for jobs, right? Economic migrancy is not asylum, right? But they're still being let right in. So, in fact, I'm glad that a lot of the U.S. officials specifically are coming out and now saying we need to start rejecting people much earlier in the process, not just instantly allowing them to come into the United States of America, go into the cities and basically deplete all the assets or any type of equity that's even there, right? Just completely depleting it, right? So let's see how this actually goes, guys, right? The name of the video is The U.S. Empowers Asylum Officials to Reject Migrants Earlier in the Process. Because that, in fact, is what needs to happen, guys.
Administration announced new regulations Thursday that give immigration officials more power to reject migrants earlier in the asylum process. The rule applies to migrants seeking asylum after illegally crossing the southern border. Officials now have the power to deport them immediately after crossing the border if they fail to pass the asylum interview process. CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya Galvez joins us now from El Paso, Texas. Camilo, why were these regulations pushed now?
Why? Bro, did he just say why were they pushed now? Bro, tens of thousands of people are coming through. Like, what seems to be each border daily, guys, right? I mean, how many videos do we need to see? Why? And he's asking a question like, why are they being pushed now? Don't get me wrong here. I was that guy like 3 months ago. Like, I don't understand what's happening until you see it and you're just like, oh my, that's happening for real? Oh, come on, bro. You work at the news. It's time for you to probably pay attention to what's actually happening around the country.
John, U.S. officials tell me that this is a national security and public safety regulation, not necessarily an immigration and asylum rule. And they say that because it would empower asylum officers to more quickly identify and also reject migrants who cross the border illegally and who are also deemed to pose a risk to either national security or public safety because they may have ties to terrorism cells abroad or because they have serious criminal records. So we expect the population to be affected by these regulations, John, to be fairly narrow and small. But we also have to underscore, John, that this in many ways reinforces this policy shift on asylum and immigration by the Biden administration, which, as you know, has faced unprecedented levels of migration here along the U.S.-Mexico border.
Right. And Camilo, then by making a national security claim, is the administration essentially embracing one of the arguments that their critics have made, which is that this migrant crisis at the border is in fact a national security threat because of the kinds of people who might be able to come through in a porous border?
Here's the thing. Yes, it's a national security issue. If we look at a lot of the incidents that are happening specifically in Manhattan, in terms of all the wild, crazy criminality that's happening there, with all the random shootings and things like that that are going on in like Times Square, where the kid basically attempted to throw bullets, let's say, at the police, and the police did not throw bullets back. Why? Because you're in public. He didn't care to the point where he then hit a Brazilian national in the leg while he was here for tourism purposes, guys. Yeah, things are crazy with the Venezuelan fraternity, Tren de Aragua, also infiltrating the area, guys. Right? There's a big problem with national security with allowing some of these individuals to come into this country, bro. And specifically how they're coming in is also absolutely wild. If you look back a couple of seconds, it was like a scene with like papers all around the ground, all on the ground. It's right here, right? This is generally is going to be like identification, right? There are also going to be passports thrown all over here, right? Just so they can hide exactly who they are, to have no documentation. The documentation only mattered as they were traveling through Mexico. Once they got to the United States of America, they can, for the most part, become somewhat of a ghost migrant, guys, right? So these are the issues that are actually happening out there. But all right, let's go.
Border.
Well, I think, John, Biden administration officials would tell you that at its core, the crisis here at the humanitarian situation here, and the humanitarian situation here, rather, at the border is one formed by desperate people who are fleeing desperate circumstances. And it is not necessarily a national security crisis, but it does have national security implications, especially as it relates to people who are trying to evade law enforcement, the so-called gotaways, and who are not processed by federal law enforcement because we do not know what their intentions are and who they may be. And so officials are very concerned about the migrants who are trying to evade law enforcement.
Right.
But again, we have to underscore that most migrants, rather, who are crossing the border now are actively looking for federal agents to begin the asylum process.
And Camilla, you've been reporting on these considerations in the administration about it.
There's a big reason for that. It's because we are the absolute individuals. Let's say we are the ones who will pay them. So the smartest thing for them to do is to find a federal agent, get into some type of program, have them sent to some random city state of ours, and they can deplete the assets of the local area.
Even bigger restrictions on asylum with executive orders. Where does all that stand?
That's right. So beyond this regulation that was published by the Department of Homeland Security today, we also know that President Biden is weighing and considering invoking a more sweeping presidential authority to enact a broader crackdown on asylum here at the border ahead of the election in November. That authority would be known as 212F, and it has been used by multiple presidents, including former President Trump, to justify immigration restrictions. It allows, John, presidents to suspend the entry of migrants when it is determined that their arrival here is detrimental to American interests, and it would ban many migrants from seeking asylum, not just those who may pose a threat to national security or public safety. But we have been told, John, that the president has not made a final decision on this order.
And Camilla, in the 45 seconds I've got left with you, give me you've been at the border for a little over a week now. What's the current situation there looking like?
Well, there has been a dramatic shift at the U.S.-Mexico border in recent months. Okay. In December, illegal crossings soared to record levels, but those crossings, John, have dropped by over 40% in the months since. In April, U.S. Border Patrol agents recorded roughly 129,000.
Bro, does it even matter? Oh my God. Listen, bro, 250,000 people in 1 month? I mean, I get it. The number has dropped. It's because they're all in here now. They're all here already, right? Or an overwhelming majority of the ones who wanted to come came early. But by the looks of this here, guys, right? Yeah, but this is still like ridiculously large number. Like probably 95% of them, okay? Overwhelmingly, 95, I'd say 98, being nice, 98% of them most likely are economic migrants seeking work for the purpose of remittance back to their country, basically funding their country's economy. That's basically what it sounds like to me. Maybe 2 to 1% actually need our help.
Unlawful border entries, that is compared to 250,000 crossings in December, 250,000. So there has been a dramatic drop, and U.S. officials, John, attribute that to a massive and aggressive crackdown on migration by Mexican officials on the other side of the border.
I mean, listen, I hear you. The other side of the border, Mexico is trying to do something finally. Here's the issue. What the Mexican president said that he really had no interest in doing this. I mean, he's been caught on like audio saying that he doesn't care, bro. Right? They're not staying there. They're going to us, right? But either way, listen, I definitely think that that specifically Mexico should be doing a lot more in stopping this, specifically if we give them any type of aid or we help them by any means. They need to help us by not allowing these individuals to come in through their southern border. Okay? But either way, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.